Launching Exile. Launching Exile.
Mana is spent.
Stretches the sanity of the mind.
Sup, so there you saw a example, well, you know, a map with this build. So this is a Lowlife Guardian. So obviously we're using Chevron trappings. And instead of Time of Need, I have Bastion of Hope for the block. And it also gives me stun immunity, so I don't necessarily need Presence of Child on this build. But so what we're doing is we're using Lethal Pride with Kilova. That gives us Glancing Blow, which is doubles our attack and spell block. But the downside is that instead of negating all of the damage from the block, it deals 50% of the hit. So basically this means like a crazy amount of more sustainable, like a more sustained or consistent damage reduction instead of, you know, a very I mean, it's not inconsistent if you do get max block and spell block without it, but I need this to get my spell block to what it is. Currently at with Tempest Shield, and as long as I've used a spell recently, it's at 70%. But it could actually be 75 with a few changes that I'm going to talk about soon. And well, here's the skill tree. So basically we're just taking all of the ES stuff, some mana nodes. I only have 3.7k mana. You can see I could have a lot more mana, but I prefer to scale my base ES more, or like scale my like just normal energy shield, because we have a Mana Guardian in our league, so the less mana scaling I have, the more ES I will get from him. I think he has like 15k or something. He has like a decent amount of ES. And yeah. There's a few things I will probably end up changing, and that's the pathing to Witch. In 2 levels, I will get Deep Thoughts. This is the highest ES I can get in 3 points right now. Right now I have an energy shield here, it's like a random node. But I will do this, and I will eventually probably path out this way instead of this way, and then drop Entering Bond, even though it's a really good cluster. It's like for 4 points here, so like the whole cluster is like 58, basically 58% permanent damage, has some attack and cast speed, and then it has a lot of duration. And the duration is good for Wall Mold and Shell. It's good for my Tempest Shield, though I don't really need it, because I have a weapon with a trigger socket spells when you use a skill. And yeah, we have a shield that gives us ES on block. This is like very vital for the build. So as long as when I block, currently I am being healed by 4% of, you know, 10.7k ES. So whenever I get like block a hit, which is basically most of the time, I'll get healed, granted that the hit doesn't do more damage than 4% of my ES pool. and well, we have a decent amount of armor. We're like 16k armor, which is the granite, with a really bad roll on the iron skin. And we're like 5.8k just by itself. You could potentially run the mana helmet. I always forget the name, the one that you get from Elder Guardians, and get like crazy amount of extra armor, but the +3 minion gems is very important for animated Guardian survival, and well, my zombies as well. And I would ideally, I guess my links on the Ray Spectre, minimum damage, Elemental Army, Elemental Focus, Spell Echo, and then Feeding Frenzy. Ideally, I would have my Feeding Frenzy on my zombies, just for the buff, and then instead of use something like in KOV, swapping into Conk effect for bosses or something like that, or just Death Mark, and then just like Death Mark the bosses or something like that. But I don't have sockets. So I have Desecrate, Tempest Shield, and Flesh Offering on cast on skill use, so that automates the you know, all of those. And then I have Molten Shell with increased duration, Stormbrand. I am Avatar of Fire, so my Stormbrand does fire damage for the EE, which, yep, we have there. And then for my auras, I'm running Wrath and Generosity Blood Magic from my life pool. I should actually probably drop the level of my Blood Magic at some point to get a bit more extra armor, because, you know, when I preserve my life, it gives me armor instead. Well, gives me armor based on that. Then we have a random discipline, we have a random purity of elements. Currently, I actually need this purity of elements myself to cap my resistances. This is not necessarily the case with proper gear, but having purity of elements is nice because it also gives a lot of resistance to your minions. And it allows me to, instead of taking this node, I can just take the physical damage reduction instead. And I mean, I don't really feel like I need more damage. The map that we just run was more life with Endurance charges, so the boss was quite tanky to damage mitigate the mods. And currently, I don't even have a curse. And then here we have shield charge, faster attacks, fortify, and random flame dash. That's my setup right now. Eventually, I would like to drop out the purity of elements though, and get aspect of the spider, which there are a few slots I could get it. I could get it on one of the rings as a suffix. I could get it on a helm. For example, this helm has a wasted suffix right now, and need the minus cold resist. This is actually just somebody tried to craft this for EK, and it just happened to hit the crazy +3 minion with T2 ES, and then the ES and energy, I mean int and resist. So like, oh, I can use it. But the big boy dream would be annulling this weapon, and you have a 1 in 6 chance to annul the trigger a socketed spell when you use a skill out of it. Not that, sorry, a multimod from this. And then you have 1 in 6 for removing all spell gems, which would mean I would have to recraft this weapon. But annulling any of the other 4, so trigger socketed spell, cast speed, attack speed, mana, and increased damage, doesn't matter because you just recraft it. So you would just keep annulling this until you hit one of the mods. Either you hit the jackpot by removing the multi-mod, and then you could craft the aspect there, or you ruin the weapon by removing the all spell skill gems. Other than that, I'm using Presence of the Chayula with Deflection as my anoint, because this is 8% spell block. I don't need the attack block, I need the spell block from it. But if I had a Watcher's Eye for spell block with Discipline, I could actually drop Deflection and take Utmost Intellect, or take something like Primal Spirit and get a bunch of extra ES. And yeah, I'm level 91 now. So every single remaining skill point from here on out could be towards Energy Shield. And I would actually be able to hit like around like 12k with my current gear, just from the level ups. But I might end up taking like a minion region node here or the leech node here. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. I have some random ass jewels. I mean, obviously unending hunger. I have a random ghastly. Ideally, I would have the mana jewel that converts life into mana. Healthy mind here, but since we don't have an extra, that's why my pathing is what it is right now. But this is the jewel I can easily drop, even though it's a really nice jewel for me. And then I would just place it here to make the life from here and the life from here into mana, which would then convert into yes. What else? I'm using Cyclopia Coil. Mainly for the Ignite and Shock Immune. They are very powerful mods. And I mean, life does grant me extra ES and armor because of the presence of Chayula and the Ascendancy node. Other than that, obviously we have to use Shaper's Touch. This is just insane. Int gives us evasion rating. And right now, I'm like 900 evasion with nothing else because we don't have any evasion gear. I could have a shield, like a hybrid armor ES shield, a hybrid evasion ES shield, or just a pure ES shield. So there's a lot of options here. The main thing is to recover ES when you block. But when I slap in my Jade and my Steep Knight, well then suddenly we're 11k evasion. And with just the Jade alone, because of my int scaling evasion, I'm like 7.7k. So that's pretty good. And then obviously it makes strength give us mana, which is more ES, and then strength also gives energy shield, which is also more ES. So this is just, you just really don't have any other option than Shaper's Touch. Ideally, I would have a curse and hit corruption on these, like elemental weakness or enfeeble or something like that. We'll probably get it eventually, but for now we just have a plain gloves. And believe it or not, but Rainbow Stride are actually insane boots for this build because of the spell block. So I could be at 72% spell block right now if these boots were divine for 6%. They have mana which scales ES. Obviously they have a decent ES and they have all resist, which is important, and then they have a decent movement speed. There are a few other ways to get the spell block though, and I don't think end game, like if I were to have like a mirror tier gear, I probably wouldn't have the Rainbow Strides, and instead just have like a really nice crafted mana boots or mana ES boots, even maybe with an Abyssal Socket, I don't know, but for that, I would have to hit. I'm actually gonna show you the Watcher's Eye mod. I think Michi has it, so I can just show his character. We actually have one, but he is using it, and yeah, I'm not gonna be able to yoink it from him. It's yes on this character. So there's a Watcher's Eye mod that gives. Where is it? Is it somewhere? I think. Yeah, there. So there's Watcher's Eye mod that has chance to block spell damage while, you know, have discipline, and it goes up to 8%. So with my jewel, this would be 16% block with a proper divine. Other useful mods, well, I could run a level 1 clarity or like very low level clarity, you know, just balance out my mana so I can actually cast stuff and have the, you know, gain mana as extra ES, and that would be absolutely insane. So yeah, then I could drop deflection very easily. You could argue that I could drop Rainbow Strides. Right now, this is what, 5, that's 9%, so 18. I could have 16 from that one jewel alone. And I could drop these, because I don't necessarily have to be capped spell block. I'll probably want to, but I don't have to. But yeah. There are a bunch of stuff still I can upgrade. Get a double corrupt the chavs. You can also corrupt shields for some decent mods. I probably want to have the armor ES hybrid for like the all resist shield, because armor is really nice. And yeah, you could also potentially use a Aegis Aurora that gives you 2% of your armor as energy shield when you block, but then hitting the spell block is gonna be a lot harder. And for that, oh, it's Memory Vault was the helm that I was talking about earlier, the mana helm. And then you'd want to be a more mana scaling build, which is probably going to give you more ES and like survivability overall, if you are not planning ever to play with the support. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this build. It's been a really strong, being face tanking some Legion mobs, which is nice. And yeah, I think I covered pretty much everything I wanted to talk for now. We'll probably make an update on this build at some point. Yeah. If there are any questions, hit me up in the comment section or just come by a stream to see how it plays. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.